Hey guys, and welcome to May's YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be on coping skills, also known as mental illness hacks. I was actually supposed to go to therapy. I'm right now supposed to be at therapy, but this morning my therapist texted me and she's like, oh, all the power went out, so you can't come. And I'm like, oh, it's okay, I just go home and make a video. So yes, once again, I'm going to be presenting coping skills that I've learned that help me deal with my mental illnesses. And you may have a different illness from me, or you might have the same one. But these are kind of general tips for people with any kind of mental illness. I want to emphasize that these are not quick fixes. I don't believe in that. It actually makes me really freaking irritated when people are like, oh yeah, just do this and then you won't have depression. Like once, my friend who really meant well, he was telling me, oh yeah, you should just go hiking. If you go hiking, you won't have depression anymore. And I was like, I think it's a little more complicated than that. But he's like, no, you should just try it. So I'm like, okay, and I went hiking. I'm like, I'm still depressed, but I feel a little better. So I'm sure a lot of you have had that experience. So anyway, not quick fixes. These are just little tips to help you manage your symptoms. Kind of like when you have a cold, like how soda crackers can help you feel better. They don't cure it, but they can help. So my first tip today is positive self-talk. And I know what you guys are thinking. You're like, oh my god, I've heard this a million zillion times. And yes, but positive and kind self-talk has really helped me a lot. And I'll kind of share with you what I mean by that. You know how it's hard when you have a mental illness, and even if you don't, just to see yourself the way you see other people. Like you can see like a little kid, and if you have to take care of them, you're like, oh, what do you want to eat for breakfast? Or oh, what do you want to do now? Like you take care of them, but with yourself it's like something different. It's like, oh, I have to do this, or oh, I'm just gonna do this because no one cares. So I want you guys to try to view yourself the way you would view like a little child who you're babysitting, or maybe like a dependent adult whom you're watching, because you are. You have the responsibility to take care of yourself, and taking care of a person, that's a huge job. So tell yourself stuff like, hey, let's get out of bed now, and let's go walk over to the sink and brush our teeth. It's gonna be fun to pick our toothpaste and our toothbrush, the way you do with a toddler. And it might seem a little silly, but this has really helped me. So maybe it's something you might want to try, especially on days when you're really depressed or have a lot of anxiety, and you just can't get out of bed. Like, just be encouraging to yourself, and be kind. You wouldn't yell at a kid. Hopefully you wouldn't yell at a kid just because they're having a hard time, putting on their shoes or something, or getting out the front door. You just be like, hey, come on, you can do it. So try to do that with yourself. Alright, so my second tip is to express your feelings. So you can do this like in public or in private. And for me, I know it helps me, especially when I'm having like a lot of BPD or PTSD symptoms. I feel very alone. So when I'm going through that kind of stuff, I do like to post on Instagram, or maybe write a blog post if I'm feeling up to it. I'll just write about what I'm going through, maybe use some hashtags so people can find it, and then I usually get a lot of encouragement, and that usually really helps me. And if you're not feeling up to that, then I totally understand. Like when I'm going through depression, it's hard for me just to like go on my phone. I feel like I might as well be like traveling halfway across the world for all the effort it takes to be social, even though I'm not actually seeing anyone face to face, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate. So when I'm going through that, then I might just like type up some notes on my phone, or maybe just write something in my journal, and that usually helps me. I find that when you're separating your feelings from yourself, you're putting them on social media or you're putting them on paper, it kind of helps you to process them, to see them more clearly, that they're not you, it's just something you're going through at the moment. My third tip, my third little mental illness hack, is to switch up your routine. And we all know that if you have like an eating disorder or depression or one of those kind of serious mental illnesses, then a lot of the time the way it works is it makes the way you think very rigid. Like you feel like I have to do this at exactly this time. You don't think of other alternatives. You know, your brain is just locked in this one set mode. And it's kind of trippy, and you don't always realize it's happening until you're like, oh, before I used to be able to do this, like I used to be spontaneous, and now I feel like I have to come home, do my work, go to sleep, then this, and even that is such a big struggle. So for me, switching up my routine, it might be something just as easy or as simple as maybe I usually shave my left leg first, so this time I'm going to shave my right leg. And then my mental illnesses would be like, whoa, what's going on, you know? So that really helps. Or brushing your teeth with the other hand, something like that. Maybe you usually like have yogurt for breakfast. Instead of yogurt, you can have maybe cereal on your yogurt, or just a small little change. This doesn't have to be a big change, you know, this can just be a really teeny little thing. Sometimes when I'm putting on my makeup, I usually put on my eye makeup after I put on my eyebrow makeup. So if I'm trying to switch things up, maybe I'll put on my eye makeup first. And that can make a huge difference. It just helps to open up that rigid mindset. It's kind of like jamming a little pin in there, and then everything else starts to get a little bit more, I don't know what the word is, kind of more like open to alternatives. So give it a shot. Another one, very important, number 4, is to move. Okay, moving your body will release endorphins, and you don't have to go for like a 5-mile run. You don't have to go to the gym. I used to try doing that, and it was just way too much effort for me on a lot of days. So what you could do is just maybe walk around your apartment, clean up a little bit, like maybe just scrub the counters, and just that little bit of movement will just help you feel a lot better a lot of the time. For me, once I was helping my dad carry these cans of soda up from Costco, and I was like, oh my gosh, this feels really good to lift weights. And then so I didn't have any actual weights to lift. So then later, when I was feeling a little bit depressed, I was like, oh hey, I felt really good when I was lifting those weights. So then I got out the soda cans again, and I was like standing next to my bed, feeling a little ridiculous, but I was like lifting the weights, and I was like, oh, this feels good. And of course I had a little fail because the soda fell out, and then it dropped on the floor, and then soda was like spraying everywhere. So get actual weights if you can. If not, you can improvise, but be prepared for a mess. Another thing you could do is to stimulate your senses. And by that, I mean, you could take like a cold or hot shower. If you usually take the opposite, you usually take a hot shower, take a cold shower, just for like a few seconds. And it can really like wake you up, make you feel, take you out of that box. And I know a lot, you guys will know what I mean by that box kind of thing, that box mentality. Right here, okay, this is this little essential oil that my friend bought me. So sometimes just like smelling it, put a little bit on your wrist. It smells really good. It's sensual something, okay, I don't know. But like aromatherapy, if you have lavender, that can really help. Mint totally wakes up your senses. So just a little bit of that can help a lot. Another thing kind of to go with this and the previous tip, the moving tip, is like having sex. That can help a lot. Or masturbation too helps. Like, I mean, release some hormones, you know, release some stress. And yeah, if you have a partner, then good. And if not, I mean, with yourself, that's really great too. So don't underestimate how powerful that stuff can be. Let's see, I had a 7th tip, which is to go outdoors. So my friend, I think he was onto something when he told me that hiking was the cure for depression. It's not actually a cure, but it can help, you know, just going outside, getting a little bit of fresh air, seeing some nature, even if the nature is just like a dying tree or whatnot, listening to the birds. And if you can't make it out that far, I know it's a lot of effort sometimes, just open the windows, you know, let in some new air to breathe, and that can do you some good. And my 9th tip for you today, my 8th tip is self-care. So kind of tying into the positive self-talk, these are 3 self-care things that work for me. One is making my bed, another is brushing my teeth, It just makes me feel clean and my mouth is clean. And a third is clipping my nails. Because one of the things I always notice when I'm depressed is like all this like junk, you know, gets under my nails and then it turns out yellow and dirty and gross. And when I clip my nails, I just feel really fresh. And it can open the door to maybe like shaving or something else. So making your bed, brushing your teeth, clipping your nails, it all takes less than 5 minutes. And it might be something different for you. But also a huge self-care thing to be sure to do is to eat. Okay, I know when we're depressed, anxious, any other kind of mental illness thing, eating is usually one of the first things to go. Either we eat too much, we don't eat enough, some kind of disordered kind of eating. Just try to eat a hot meal instead of just like grabbing something cold from the fridge or like some cookies or something. Even if it's just heating up leftovers, eat something hot. It takes less than 5 minutes. Maybe make some instant oatmeal. I love oatmeal. Instant oatmeal is like my food of choice. So and sit at the table to eat it. It just gives you the sense of dignity. You know, you're eating a hot meal at the table. It feels really good. And your body will feel better too. And my 9th tip today is music. So music can really lift your spirits, or if you need validation, listen to music that gives you that. So that can be sad music, any kind of music that fits you. So sometimes I just turn on the radio because I don't have the energy to like look up songs on YouTube that I want to listen to, but just the fact that there's noise and it keeps on going, it can kind of help get me going, you know. Or beforehand, you can make a YouTube playlist that you can go to. So I haven't made a YouTube playlist yet, but later I will list some of my favorite songs. And I'm sure you guys have songs that make you feel better, so you can play those. And another thing music helps with for people with mental illness is it helps to give you that sense of time. You know how when you're mentally ill, you get this disordered, kind of warped sense of time. Like you feel like either no time is passing at all, or time is passing just way too quickly, or something like that. So music can kind of help connect you with reality, because you know, okay, this song is maybe about 4 or 5 minutes long, and so that's the amount of time it'll take me to brush my teeth. So you don't feel like you're just standing there brushing your teeth forever, or that it's gonna take way too long and you don't want to actually do it. So I don't know if you guys know what I mean, but that time aspect of music usually is something that's really helpful for me. And my 10th tip for you today, I will be offering 10 tips at a time, is comedy. You know, laughter can do wonders. I absolutely love The Big Bang Theory because Sheldon like always makes me laugh. I think it's just a weird kind of sense of humor. And also I was just like watching random stuff on YouTube, and I found you know, The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and he was impersonating Donald Trump and pretending to make phone calls to Hillary Clinton and Medea, and it was like literally the most hilarious thing ever, and I just laughed and laughed and laughed, and that can just do you so much good. So I don't know what exactly you find funny. Could be dark humor, could be just like silly comedy, slapstick comedy. Whatever you find helps you laugh, just don't feel guilty. Go watch it or just take part in that. So those are my 10 tips for you guys today, 10 little mental illness hacks. I hope they helped you. If you guys have any more that are personally helpful for you, or if you find one of my tips helpful, then tell me, comment, and I will make another video soon. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.